Breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news, power lines are down, a road is closed after a crash. This is a live look at the scene where Durham police are investigating right now.
Plus, deadly ATV crash. What police believe caused the vehicle to flip and kill the driver.
And last night we had a cold front come through. It is going to be a chilly start to 2025. All this cold air on the way. We're going to time out when it gets here coming up.
New year, new laws. The measures going into effect that will impact your finances, including car insurance and home prices. Good morning, everyone. It is 4:30, 2025. Let's do this. Welcome to the first newscast of the year. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Chris Lovingood. You know, we're so happy that people are joining us here on the first broadcast of the new year. Very excited for some of you.
Maybe they didn't go to bed.
People probably didn't. I went to bed at 6:30 last night. I was a good boy. But we do have here, we've got a lot happening here. As meteorologist Anthony Baglione watching carefully to see how the first forecast of the year is looking.
Yeah, the all-important one for us. We're going to start off strong. It's looking pretty chilly for us, but I think we're going to be pretty good overall with a lot of sunshine today. Happy New Year to all of you, though. Hopefully you were able to get at least a little bit of rest last night. Here's a look downtown, though. Fayetteville Street in downtown Raleigh, they made short work of cleaning everything up. It looks really, really good here after all the celebrations for us last night. Temperatures at the moment are cool, if not a little bit chilly, I would say. We're at 45 in Roxborough, 45 right now in Southern Pines. 50 is the temperature waking up there in Raleigh for the start to 2025. We do have some colder weather, though, on the way through the next couple of days. It may take it a second to kind of get here, but we're still going to be colder today than the 68 we hit yesterday. 55 this afternoon. It comes with a lot of sunshine, but then, like I said, a lot colder weather on the way potentially for the weekend. We're going to talk about how cold it could get here coming up in just a few minutes.
Anthony, thanks. We're following breaking news on this New Year's Day. Part of a road in Durham is closed right now as police investigate a serious crash. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us live from South Alston Avenue. And Laura, this crash, I understand, knocked down some power lines there.
Renee, this section of South Alston Avenue here behind me has been blocked off since 1 o'clock this morning. That's when Durham police responded to a very serious crash here. You can see several utility crews are on the scene. In fact, in the past 10 minutes, we have continued to see more of those utility trucks move in this area. A little further down is where we believe the crash happened. From our vantage point, is really hard to make out because it's dark as well, but it's really hard to make out the vehicles impacted or involved in this crash. However, we were able to see forensics on the scene as well this morning. With those down power lines, we saw several down power lines here. This is between the intersection of Majestic Drive and Gilmore Avenue. So if you are up early, perhaps you live within this area, traveling in and out of this area, you want to be mindful that this section is blocked off, and it will be blocked off for quite some time this morning as Durham police continue to investigate the circumstances around this crash. Now, this morning, we are still working to learn more about the people involved and their condition at this time. Laura Levine, WRAL News, we're live in Durham.
One person is dead because of an ATV accident just before midnight. Authorities say speed was likely involved in the ATV flipping onto the driver in Johnston County. The driver was turning from King Road into his driveway near NC Highway 39. Authorities say he was not wearing a helmet. State troopers have not identified that driver.
Breaking news in Raleigh. One person is hurt after a stabbing. Police say someone was stabbed in their upper leg. So this happened on Triangletown Boulevard near Triangletown Center. Police say they believe the two people know each other. Now, the person who was stabbed is expected to live.
Breaking news that we're following. WRAL News is working to learn why Raleigh firefighters responded to this apartment complex early this morning. This happened just after 1 a.m. on Beaver Brook Drive. That's near Creedmoor Road and Crabtree Valley Mall, if you know that. We are working to learn if there was a fire at the complex or if crews were responding to another kind of emergency.
2025 is here, and people are home after their celebrations, including a big one in downtown Raleigh. Here in the city of Oaks, we drop an acorn, and that rang in 2025 at midnight. It was all part of WRAL First Night Raleigh. Tens of thousands celebrated on Fayetteville Street to celebrate the start of the new year.
And we do want to give you a live look at Fayetteville Street, where obviously it looks a lot quieter than it did, showing you from that video just a bit ago. From the food to rides and fireworks, WRAL First Night Raleigh had something for everyone. One group of friends from Michigan sees a different ball drop every year. They started in Ohio, and now it was the acorn's time to shine.
What time it's going to be every year. We can all get together, spend time together, and that was the biggest push to starting this whole thing.
After a night of celebrating 2024, we now go boldly into 2025 to embrace what's ahead.
What a cool concept, just see a different drop every year. Well, all eyes were on the big one, the crystal ball, dropping high above Times Square in New York City. It was a rainy New Year's Eve there as people got drenched, but they made the best of it. And as luck would have it, the rain stopped just in time to ring in 2025. Right when the clock struck midnight, the ball dropped, and instead of raindrops, thousands of pounds of confetti showered down.
And they're going to do that cleanup starting this morning. You've got plenty of options for your first breakfast dining out and retail therapy session of the year. Most restaurants, grocery stores, and retail chains such as Target and Walmart will be open today. The stores may be operating on adjusted hours, so just make sure you check before you leave the house. Banks, post offices, shipping services, and the stock market will stay closed today.
Though there are several new laws going into effect for North Carolina as we enter 2025. Two of them will affect your finances. Let's start with new laws for drivers. New car insurance requirements will be the most expensive in the country. The cheapest auto insurance plans are nearly doubling how much they will pay out for property damage and medical bills. Lots of people are already insured for those higher rates, but if you have a cheaper plan, your bills are probably about to go up. That change was supposed to begin Wednesday. Lawmakers gave drivers an extra 6 months until July.
There are also big changes coming to the home building industry. A new law will limit the state's rules on home builders to meet requirements for energy efficiency and stormproofing. This is specifically for natural disasters. Legislators said they hoped home builders would pass on those savings to the public in the form of cheaper homes. Governor Roy Cooper says it will actually lead to higher costs for homeowners in their energy bills. He also said this could make North Carolina ineligible to receive federal disaster funding for future disasters. That's if homes are not being built well enough to withstand storms. And for an explanation on how these laws will affect you, head to WRAL.com and search for this story on the NC Capitol page.
We now have a new governor for North Carolina. Josh Stein will be sworn in today as the 76th governor of North Carolina. It's happening at 11 a.m. at the state capitol building. Josh Stein's inauguration events are happening January 11th and 12th.
Governor Roy Cooper took 15 convicted killers off death row as one of his final acts in office. They will now serve life in prison without parole. Cooper's decision happened just days after President Biden took more sweeping action with federal death row prisoners. Cooper's 15 commutations are a fraction of the 136 people on North Carolina's death row.
And Chris, one of those pardons is for Hassan Bacote. A jury found him guilty for a 2007 murder in Johnston County. Bacote's attorneys argued race played a role in his death sentence. There were 10 white jurors and 2 black jurors in that trial.
That race plays in determining who sits on juries in these cases, who determines and who lives and dies, as the evidence showed in Johnston County.
Before this, only 5 death sentences had ever been commuted in the state since 1977. These commutations reduced the state's death row population by about 10%. 121 people are still awaiting execution.
President-elect Donald Trump plans to attend the funeral of former President Jimmy Carter. Reporters asked him about this as he was walking into a New Year's Eve party at Mar-a-Lago. He did not share whether he had been in contact with Carter's family. Funeral services for Carter will be held in Georgia and Washington, D.C. That's on January 4th through the 9th. President Biden will deliver a eulogy at Carter's funeral service at the Washington National Cathedral.
The biggest bust in FBI history. What was found in a Virginia man's home that set a record for the Bureau?
Was caught in a tornado. A fisherman says he survived all this while on the water.
I shouldn't be here telling you this story. I made a terrible decision.
Why he decided to go fishing despite warnings not to.
And let's give you a live look at Apex. Good morning to you and Happy New Year. It's a chilly start to our new year, and we won't warm up much today. Meteorologist Anthony Baglione will tell us how much more our temperatures will drop by the weekend.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
Welcome back. It is 4:43 here on this first day of 2025. We're starting off relatively calm, but a little bit breezy for some of us. The wind gusts there in Goldsboro are sitting at 25 miles an hour right now, 23 currently in a place like Rocky Mount. We're going to start to see some colder air filter in as we go through today. It's just going to take it a second to get here. This morning, though, temperatures do continue to drop through the next couple of hours. Plan on, if you're up and at them here, or I should say maybe sleeping in a little bit. By the time we get to 10 o'clock, we're at 49. Mainly the 40s here through the morning hours or so. 55 this afternoon. We hit 68 yesterday. So perspective-wise, it's going to feel a little bit cooler. We get through the weekend, though, much colder, feeling more like winter Saturday and Sunday.
Thanks, Anthony. We're working to learn more about a woman who was shot in her legs. Durham police tell us they responded to a hospital where the woman had gunshot wounds to both of her lower legs. This happened just after 8:30 p.m. Police say her injuries are not life-threatening.
A Virginia man is in jail because federal authorities say they found a cache of homemade explosive devices at his home. The FBI says this is the largest seizure of its kind in the Bureau's history. Police arrested Brad Spafford early this month at his home near Norfolk, Virginia. He was charged with having an unregistered weapon. When investigators searched his home, they found more than 150 pipe bombs. Spafford's lawyers filed court papers on Tuesday to try to get their client released. But a judge ruled that Spafford could go free with electronic monitoring, but prosecutors are appealing that decision. Spafford will remain in jail until that hearing happens.
A man from Texas says it is a miracle that he is alive. Over the weekend, Brian Johnson, his dog Sam, and a friend were out fishing about 60 miles from Houston. Johnson says he went fishing because a storm was on the way and the bass were biting because of it. What he didn't realize is, well, he was about to get caught in the middle of a tornado. When the twister hit, Johnson's boat flipped. He had to hang on because his pants were stuck on something and his legs were trapped underneath. And as the storm moved through, Johnson freed himself. He located his friend, who found an air pocket underneath the boat, and other people soon came to help.
I shouldn't be here telling you this story. I made a terrible decision. All the warnings were there, and I didn't heed them. And yet somehow God spared me. So I got to believe he spared me for a purpose.
Johnson, his friend, and his dog made it to safety. The National Weather Service confirmed an EF3 tornado hit near that area where Johnson was fishing.
Yeah, definitely listen to the meteorologists. The state veterans home in Fayetteville may not be closing after all. State leaders recommended renovating it instead. Flooding during Hurricane Matthew caused structural problems and mold. Now, at first, there were concerns about repairs being too expensive. But after evaluating options such as rebuilding or relocating, they realized a closure would affect dozens of veterans.
In Harnett County, you have about a week and a half left to share your thoughts on the school calendar. You can share your thoughts on the 2025-26 school calendar and help shape the upcoming school year. So the QR code on your screen will take you right to that survey. And the survey closes Friday, January 10th.
It was a New Year's Eve to remember for St. Louis Blues fans. The team beat the Chicago Blackhawks during the first Winter Classic to ever be held on New Year's Eve. The Blues secured a 6-2 victory over the Blackhawks, and it was a pretty special night for Blues defenseman Cam Fowler. He celebrated playing his 1,000th, oh goodness, can't even say the word right, 1,000th game in the NHL with 2 goals.
The Carolina Hurricanes spent New Year's Eve in Ohio, scoring off against the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Canes were not able to pull off the win. The Blue Jackets beat the Canes in a shootout, 4-3. The Canes will be in Florida to play the Panthers tomorrow night, and then they will be back in Raleigh this weekend playing the Minnesota Wild at the Lenovo Center.
Vance County's new inaugural New Year's Eve tradition was a success. This year marked the first ever catfish drop at Satterwhite Point Park on Kerr Lake. A local artist created the 10-foot metal catfish that was lowered at around 7 o'clock last night. Organizers hope this becomes a decades-long tradition.
Oh, and speaking of long-standing traditions, this is video of the world-famous pickle drop in Mount Olive. Every year at 7 p.m., a pickle is lowered to start the new year. Well, this year's event drew a huge crowd. The event was also live streamed for people all across the country and around the world. Love that they do it early, too, because they wrap everything up by 7:30 for those who can't quite make it up to midnight. Did not make it up to midnight, but hey, we are starting off the new year. Meteorologist Anthony Baglione in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. And we're going to say goodbye to those warm, mild temperatures.
We really are. Yeah, we're going to see some much colder weather filtering in. We had a cold front that came through last night, and we sure enough did have some showers and some storms that went along with that. I saw some reports actually, too, coming in for some small hail in some parts of our viewing area. So thankfully that got out of here pretty quickly, though. There is where the front is, though, offshore, but watch what it did to some of the temperatures here. I'm taking a little bit of a tour across the country. It currently feels like 8 degrees. That is it to start 2025 in Minneapolis. It's a balmy 4 degrees right now waking up in Bismarck, North Dakota. That colder air coming in behind the cold front is going to kind of push closer to North Carolina. We are definitely not seeing those temperatures, but look at the temperature change over the past 24 hours. We actually are 5 degrees warmer than this time yesterday, but it takes this colder air that you see back to the west. That takes a second to get into our area. Once it does, it's very dense, it's very cold, it just sits there and it doesn't move too much unless we get another system coming in to kind of push it out of here, and I just don't see that happening at this point. Our normal high for this time of the year is 52, so technically we're going to be a little bit above normal today. 49 tomorrow, we go to 40 on Saturday, 45 on Sunday. Notice those colder temperatures for the weekend. That will set the stage for a potential system close to us. I'm going to take you to one model. We're keeping our eyes closely there on Sunday night into Monday this weekend for at least a wintry system close by. Sunday morning, notice all of this heavy snow there just south of Omaha, even into St. Louis. This will get close to us. We're going to fine-tune all these details as we get closer. But at this point, looks like Sunday night, there may be a rain-snow mix for our far northern counties before that transitions to some rain into Monday afternoon. It may be slick, though, for our northern counties Monday morning. We go to 55 today, down to 40, guys, on Saturday, so some much colder weather compared to the 68-degree temperature we had yesterday afternoon.
All right, thanks, Anthony. A 2025 meteor shower. We are going to tell you when you could see the first one in a new year.
And closing for the year, which popular trail will be off limits to visitors this year at the Great Smoky Mountains National Park? Harrison Ford gets a new look in the latest Captain America film. Rick Damigella has more in the Hollywood Minute.
Your inner circle's been compromised.
Captain America is back. This is your latest look at Captain America: Brave New World, which sees Anthony Mackie's Marvel hero taking to the skies, as well as Harrison Ford transforming into the Red Hulk. The sequel arrives in theaters February 14th. Mariah gets her Christmas wish. The singer's holiday anthem, All I Want for Christmas Is You, tops the Billboard Hot 100 chart for the 18th total week. The 1994 track is now only 2 weeks away from the longest nomination in the chart's history.
That was a turning point in my life. Complete.
Stephen Fry receives a huge British honor. The actor is set to be knighted by King Charles III. Fry made the monarch's list of new members of the UK's Orders of Chivalry. Carey Mulligan was also named as a commander of the British Empire for her contributions to drama. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Look up at the sky for the first meteor shower of 2025. The annual quadranted meteor shower is set to peak Friday, but it's already underway now. People in the northern hemisphere will have the best chance of seeing the shooting stars before dawn Friday. The quadranted meteor shower is caused by debris from an asteroid. And according to NASA, under clear and dark conditions, people could spot around 120 meters per hour during the shower's peak. It will stay active until January 16th.
Should be cool to see. Heads up, hikers. A popular trail in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park is about to close for an entire year. This is your last weekend to hike the Laurel Falls Trail until 2026. The trail and the trailhead parking area will close on Monday, and it will stay closed for 18 months so workers can improve that area. The goal is to make it safer for visitors.
It is the season for making resolutions. WRAL spoke with folks downtown about their New Year's resolutions.
I'm just excited to see the next year come by and see what it brings me.
Well, we've got a kindergartner that's going to be coming up and a second grader coming up, so just a good school year and just another good year.
Oh, I'm hoping for 2025 to be a better person.
Play some sports, like stuff like that, yeah.
Be a better person. All right. Well, whether you're looking to make specific goals or general lifestyle changes, now is the time we wipe the slate clean.
All right, so let's take a look at some of the New Year's Eve celebrations that happened around the world. What you're seeing right here was a celebration in Dubai. The fireworks display happened at the Burj Khalifa. And this is the world's tallest building, as you know.
And here's what celebrations look like in Bangkok, Thailand. Look at all those fireworks going off over the river there. A cool fact about this display is that the fireworks are eco-friendly, so they are actually made from sticky rice.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And this video here from Hong Kong. Fireworks were set off over the Victoria Harbor, and the show's theme was the Symphony of Happiness. Just a lot of different displays. Covering Wake County, the West Regional Library in Cary will close this Sunday for renovations. The library will stay closed through the fall so new flooring can be installed. The building will also be repainted and redecorated. This is actually the first time the West Regional has been renovated since it opened in 2006. There are several other libraries in the county you can visit until it reopens. Time is 4:57. Governor Josh Stein. The swearing-in ceremony happening today for our state's new leader.
A deadly ATV crash on New Year's Day. What police believe led to the crash.
Plus, showing solidarity, how fire departments came together to support one of their own injured on the job.